In recent history, we've all been aware of the Russo-Ukrainian War taking place. Just last year, February the 24th, Russia again invaded Ukraine to take over the land, but this time to try to take all the land. But it ultimately, ultimately failed. As they were trying to reach Kyiv, the main capital, Ukrainian troops were overly powerful and able to draw back the Russia's troops from reaching the city. And ultimately, now they are continuing to fight back Russia and gain back almost all of their land. At this point, they have obtained more than 50% of the land that was being taken over of Russia since the beginning. And it's almost been a year, and it looks like Ukraine has done more than what Russia has. And so this brings up in today's question, which is, would it be unwise for Iran to form a stronger defense partnership with Russia? And to that answer, I say yes. If you're thinking unwise to the extreme, it is yes. And I mean the extreme to saying yes, because ultimately any wise person would know to say no to Russia. And it's because ultimately Russia is going to fall. Russia is losing the battle. I stated before that in Ukraine, they are ultimately failing. And and it's because of these key reasons is that Russia has lost a lot of life and injuries upon its citizens. Two, Russia economy is falling apart. And three, people are just not satisfied with Russia. Now let's break this down. The point about Russia's citizens being hurt. Well, Russia has lost over 110,000 people so far in this war. Soldiers particularly, not citizens. Of course, citizens could increase that number's about 5 to 10,000, but with soldiers wounded, it's over 500,000 according to a CNBC report, which ultimately shows that compared to the Afghanistan war with the United States being Afghanistan to maintain peace, the U.S. was able to control the land and continuing to face terrorist attacks and lost less men, about less than 3,000 soldiers compared to over 110,000 soldiers, which is crazy. And they haven't even taken over the land yet, fully control of it. And in fact, because of this, there's been so much blood spilled over this war on both sides. But ultimately, Russia's strategy since the beginning of history, throughout history, is that they use men and their blood to give their life on the battlefield and ultimately to win. You can see it through all wars, specifically in the Napoleon Wars, where the Soviet cultures just sent people just to the bloodbaths, just to use men, just to use men and just use their life instead of using actual equipment. That's the only thing that they have up their sleeve. Which leads me in my second point here is that ultimately Russia doesn't have anything else up their sleeve because ultimately their economy is trash. I mean, if we look at this from our perspectives that Nord Stream 1 and 2, which provide gas lines to Europe, well, about 92% of that was cut off from the majority of European countries that are a part of the EU, as the EU has set a new policy of zero, or at least to obtain zero gas or emissions or fossil fuels from Russia and to maintain it itself. And in fact, so much so is that they're willing to go beyond its capabilities to do so. And they have shown faithfully that they can. And now it shows that they will in the future because they now can sustain themselves without Russia and without Nord Stream 1 and 2, which would have supplied Russia with major economic support. And in fact, Russia just recently gave out this policy to allow countries that it hated or disliked or had an enemy of to actually purchase that gas And also, they have also allowed countries to purchase the gas in their own, foreign currency, as Russia had a foreign policy which required to transfer into the rubles, which shows Russia's desperacy to gain money and gain economic status. Moreover, is that Russia is the most sanctioned country right now, compared to any other country. I mean, even North Korea, for that matter, because Russia is on the world stage of just evil, and every single country is putting on sanctions. Most notably, the United States and the United Kingdom, putting the most significant economic sanctions on Russia, which is limiting its capabilities to produce anything, or even provide for the people in Russia, which is hurting them. Which leads me to my last point here, is that the people within Russia are leaving, and Russia has had to unstable, mini drafts to keep people in, and in some cases, police or even there was a memo out that went out to banks that if there is some suspicious person within the bank, or they cannot afford something, that the banker should give the person a job opportunity, and if they don't and they fail to, the memo said from the Russia's government to lock them in and call the police. And ultimately, these people, just like the mini drive, or the mobilization is what Russia calls it, to be enlisted into Russia's, or most notably Putin's war, and to be sent to the slaughterhouse on the front lines. And so, furthermore, I want to get to the point is that not only that people are leaving, but there is mad corruption, and it is shown because they don't have any more arms, missiles and Milos and capabilities. We thought Russia was, number 2 or number 3 in military capabilities, but in fact, due to the worst, corruption and people using their power to trip other things and sell property and sell weapons that contain, missiles and military vehicles, their capabilities have lost, and their strength and their morale has gone down. And ultimately, that's why it would be ultimately unwise for Iran to form a strong defense partnership with Russia, because it will end the minute it starts, because Russia is already losing. Thank you.